Phil Helmouth is looking down on pocket nines. He is mostly up against celebrities, but even in those situations, people find ways to make him tilt, and MrBeast won't be an exception.
Now he picks up the hand that won him his first World Series of Poker main event.
As we could have all expected, having amateurs on the table doesn't make things go fast. And people are more likely to play with random hands, as we can see by the many limpers. Slime takes things into his own hands, though, and raises to $2,400. That gets snap called by MrBeast, and after some weird shenanigans from XQC, 3 betted by him with ace deuce offsuit.
MrBeast with 150 in front of him, so.
$1.3 million retail, like a 450 in inventory. The what? I just told the story like 3 times.
He lost a shit ton of money by tweeting out, "I'm gonna give people free chocolate who like this tweet."
Oh yeah.
Now we can observe XQC looking for the jack somewhere below the table, but as he can't find it, he decides to check, which is followed by a unison check around the table until MrBeast does this.
Well, you're right, 10,000.
I don't know what MrBeast has, but based on what else everybody else has.
Let me know in the comments, what is your guess for MrBeast's cards?
Phil's gonna call anyway with 9s. Not a believer.
The turn brings the 8 of diamonds, which I don't really know how to feel about. Not knowing MrBeast's cards, he might have a straight or a flush draw, and I bet Phil Helmuth is getting more and more heated with those pocket 9s. After you see Phil Helmuth's blow up, make sure to rate it in the comments from 1 to 10 of how crazy it was on the Brat scale.
He has probably something good, and he wants me to bet. But I kind of want him to bet as well, so it's fine.
What's your call and you bet?
25.
Do you make 2 pair? 10-3?
All right, that counts.
Okay. I mean, I have a queen, so you probably have a king.
You got a queen? You got me.
Yeah.
Queen of hearts, 5 of hearts.
It's like impossible that I could ever be losing in this game. The man just bet a queen 5.
for a living?
I called 5,000 under the fucking gun. I got to have 9s or above, and he bet a queen 5 for value on the river.
Daniel Negreanu is looking down at 7-5 offsuit, but he's up against the greatest of all time, Phil Ivey, whose cards we don't see yet. Daniel limps from the button, a play you almost never see at these high levels, because you open yourself up to a stealing raise that you can't really call, but his opponents already know that, so I'm guessing they think he's trying to trap them with a monster hand like pocket aces.
Maria has checked her option. We're going 3-way to the flop.
The flop gives Negreanu an open-ended straight draw, but with Phil limping and Maria Ho checking pre-flop, there's a lot of hands in their ranges like suited hearts, small sets, and 2-pair combos that connect here. If either of them decides to push, Daniel's draw could get pretty expensive. This bet by Phil doesn't give away much. He's the kind of player who'll fire here whether he's got top pair, a monster draw, or complete air. A flop bet like this is more about taking control rather than showing actual strength. Negreanu was feeling somewhat okay in position here, so he decides to see what move Ivey will make on the turn.
Daniel does call. The turn card is a 7. Phil checks.
I think we should probably just check.
Daniel does bet. And what's Phil thinking?
He's thinking, what's this guy got? What's this guy over here got? What does he got me beat?
Oh, Phil's check raised.
A line like this usually represents real strength, but against someone like Ivey, it can just as easily be a well-timed bluff meant to put Daniel in the blender.
Seconds left to make a decision. He elects to call.
Like there was ever any doubt what Daniel was going to do.
The river card is the 7 of hearts. Trips for Daniel, but it does put a potential flush out there.
Ivey limped pre-flop, fired a bet on a heart-heavy flop, then check-raised the turn. That line is consistent with a flush draw or a pocket pair of 4s or 6s, which now gives him a full house.
And there's a bet from Phil.
Full house? You got queen 7? I don't think I can fold it.
Daniel calls.
Ace queen.
Phil claims to have ace queen, but he doesn't.
Phil Hellmuth is looking down at ace-jack offsuit. He is raised to $2,000, but he's up against Harlo with pocket 8s. And Tony G, he's lurking, and he's not planning to stay quiet for long.
Action begins on Phil, ace-jack, raised to 2,000, pocket pair for Russ.
Pot.
Raises to 7,200.
Harlo is the loose cannon in this game, which means he's an amateur who's been given $100,000 to play against 5 pros. Whatever he makes over $100,000, he gets to keep. Meanwhile, Tony G folded, but this is not the last time we see and hear of him this hand.
How much more you have?
Helmut is fishing for information, trying to get a read on the delivery driver. Every second Harlo spends fumbling with his chips gives Phil little clues about how strong he really feels.
Phil calls and gives him the WWE stare down. Hellmuth off the top rope. The flop, 10-6 deuce, 3 clubs. Hellmuth checks the nut flush draw.
Harlo's ahead for now, but Phil's sitting there with 2 overcards, a nut flush draw, and about 27 different ways to ruin this man's whole poker career. If Harlo fires a bet here, things could get messy fast, because Hellmuth is definitely not folding this one soon. But Harlo decides to check it back to him.
The turn gives Russ a set. Hellmuth, chips in hand, leads out to 5,500.
Gotta take a chance sometime.
I'm supposed to think you're weak, right? Because you're talking?
I won't bet more than 9,000 on the river if you call.
I'm all in.
Russ Harlo, all in.
Helmut throws out a little feeler bet, just trying to stir the pot. But Harlo responds by setting the whole kitchen on fire. This is actually an incredible read from the delivery driver against arguably the best poker player of all time. Now Phil's got to decide if that nut flush draw is enough to pull him out of the flames, or if he's about to get roasted. He thinks for about 5 minutes and Tony G is starting to lose his patience.
So you potted it before the flop.
It's ridiculous.
What's ridiculous?
I mean, just make a decision, you know? Like, there's other people in the game, too. You're a professional player playing against a loose cannon. I mean...
Now I'm trying to make a decision for 43,000. Can you just shut the up? Call
You're a
floor
professional
man.
player?
Call floor man.
You're insulting everyone. I mean, we're here, we want to play, too.
He's completely out of line here. So I
think he's completely out of line because he's been taking forever to make a decision. Against an amateur player coming in here as the best player in the world, taking 15 minutes to make a decision.
I haven't taken 15 minutes. You want to bet on that?
Well, you will.
You're
that's
so
why
out of line. You know, your etiquette's horrible. Stay out of this.
Gentlemen,
stay out. Let's hear your ruling.
We're going to put you on the clock right now. You got a minute and 10 seconds.
That's your ruling?
Right.
I hope you're proud of yourself, Tony.
Story checks out.
Phil folds. And those are tears of joy.
Daniel Negreanu looks down to King 10 offsuit, a hand with decent equity in a 4-way pot. Against him is Elizabeth Houston, who opens to a Queen Jack offsuit. Let's see who will the poker gods bless this time.
See that? Cheap flop.
Reynolds folds.
Also makes it easier to call this 3-bet from Tony G.
He raises to 2,000. Queen Jack for the cannon. She calls out of position. So does Daniel.
And like that, Williams built himself his own little pot odds.
He calls 2. 4-person party to the flop.
The flop comes 8 Queen Jack Rainbow, which is perfect for Houston. She is looking at top 2 pair with no danger of a flush and only a potential straight or a pocket pair being in her way. Her odds look great, but I think she should have bet harder before Negreanu had a chance to see more of the community cards.
I fold.
Thank you, William.
With the bet sizing being insufficient, even Tony G with his mid pair of jacks that have 2% equity will make the call. The turn delivers the 4 of spades. Things couldn't have been better for Houston. Pocket 4s would have probably folded, same as the pocket 6s from earlier, but she is still afraid of the flush and straight draw. That's why she fires a bet for a bit over half the pot, which I think will be yet again not enough to get Negreanu off his hand.
Daniel's checking out her stack, knowing she probably has something strong enough to lose it all if he does make the nuts.
Negreanu casually calls her $15,000 bet as predicted. But at least Tony G and his adventuristic jacks are gone. Now let's see what the turn will bring for Negreanu. And it is the ace. What a cooler this will be at the end.
That's Daniel's gin card, and this could get ugly for the cannon. I expect her to bet here.
Now she checks.
Somehow she knew to slow down. Daniel's got the nuts. Let's see how much he thinks she'll pay off.
50.
If Elizabeth has watched this show at all, she would know Daniel doesn't bluff raise the river very often. No one does.
If Elizabeth makes this call, she'll have less than 30,000 remaining in her stack.
Call.
Ouch.
She sees it.
Damn it.
Tom Dwan is looking down on pocket 7s, but he's up against Doug Pulk, who's raised to $3,000 with 5-4 suited. 99% of players would just fold with Doug Polk's cards here, but at a cash game of these stakes, the players are mostly playing the players, not the cards. It's a semi-bluff. He's hoping he can steal the pot uncontested.
14.
Tom Dwan raises more than 2 times to pot, This is a classic squeeze spot, punishing Doug Polk's wide cutoff open by denying him the cheap positional advantage and forcing him to commit big if he wants to dance. Doug Polk definitely knows he's a big underdog against a small blind 3-bet range. The call here is less about hand strength and more about trying to outplay Tom Dwan post-flop, using position to create fold equity.
Doug Polk opening the suited connector in the cutoff. Tom Dwan puts in the 3-bet from the small blind and flops middle sets. 31,000 in the middle.
In 3-bet pots, the pre-flop aggressor usually controls the story, and this board gives Tom all the credibility in the world. Doug's range has a lot of air here, so Tom can lean into that advantage and apply maximum pressure, knowing position alone won't save Doug if the bets start piling up.
Doug Polk is going to float.
I don't know why, but I thought Warren just said all in for a second, and I was like, whoa.
Needs running cards to make a hand.
The 6 of hearts on the turn gives Doug Polk an open-ended straight draw, and knowing his maniac style of playing, it could cost him a lot of money.
Could win on the river with an 8 or a 3.
Tilt software, let's get this shit going.
Another half pot bet.
115.
And Doug's going to raise.
By inflating the pot here, Doug Polk is putting maximum pressure on Dwan's range and setting up the possibility to shove the river whether he hits or not.
I call.
Interesting.
Battling.
Tom Dwan knows Doug loves bluffing, so he checks to trap him.
420.
What are we doing?
You win.
I know I win, probably.
Uh-oh.
Phil Ivey is looking down at 10-9 offsuit, but he's up against Doug Polk, who's raised to 55,000 with ace-4 offsuit. Ivey makes the call, and even though this is not the best hand to call out of position with, against an aggressive opponent like Polk, Ivey knows there's value in keeping his range wide. It makes him tougher to read and sets up opportunities to pick off bluffs later. Ivey flops top pair on a relatively dry board, but against Polk's wide raising range, it's not a hand he's looking to blow the pot up with right away. Top pair with a medium kicker plays best as a pot control hand, letting Polk keep betting with his bluffs and weaker holdings. By not overplaying it, Ivey keeps his range balanced and gives himself room to navigate later streets.
Behind Ivey, the turn, a 2 of hearts. Action on Phil.
Betting 75.
75,000, just a little over half of the pot.
This bet by Ivey serves 2 purposes. It protects his top pair from giving a free card to potential overcards or backdoor draws, and it also reclaims the betting lead to control the pace of the hand. Against someone like Polk, it's also a subtle way to induce, giving him room to turn a marginal hand or complete air into a bluff.
Call.
Makes the call, in position.
Against a player like Ivey, Polk knows this turn bet could easily be a stab with missed overcards or complete air after the flop check through. By calling, Polk keeps Ivey's bluffs in play, sets himself up to potentially take the pot away on the river, and makes sure he's not getting run over in position.
The river is a 6 of clubs, so Ivey's pair of 10s are best. Action is on Phil.
Can't really bet too much. He's bet the pot.
Betting 200.
You're right, Joe.
80,000.
Raised to 580.
Wow, this is a surprise. He's made a raise here.
Do you think this was a good time to bluff for Doug Polk? Let me know down in the comments.
There it is. He makes the call, so he will win a big pot. He almost looked a bit surprised there.
Brittany is looking down at 8-6 offsuit. She and these 7 bad boys have all limped pre-flop. The flop comes 6-3-8 rainbow. And just like that, Brittany's 8-6 off turns into a sleeper hit. 2 pair on a board that's dry but sneaky. With all these limpers, someone could easily be chasing a straight. Peter leads out for $500 with top pair top kicker, but Brittany bumps it to $2,200 with top 2 pair. And suddenly, this hand goes from a stroll to a sprint. Dr. H says no more discounts and ships it for his all-in, which is just $3,700. With just middle pair and backdoor draws in an 8-way pot, it's a very bold move, especially into a raise and a bet. Kind of feels like a tilt play, to be honest.
Please call. All right, I take it back. Now you can raise. You cannot raise. Just barely.
No one raises to Dr. H's all-in, which suggests everyone is sitting on some kind of draw. The 8 of spades hits the turn, and suddenly, this table turns into a minefield. Brittany's rocking the full house, 8s over 6s. But Mike X just quietly leveled up with 3s full of 8s. 2 full houses on the same board, and neither one knows they're in a slow-motion car crash.
River will be an 8.
Peter checks, probably thinking he's still ahead with trip 8s. But what he doesn't know is that he's not just behind. He's in 3rd place on his own highlight reel. Everyone looks relaxed on the outside, but this turn card just started a quiet war. Mike X checks and attempts to slow play a full house, not knowing the innocent girl next to him is holding a stronger full house. She bets $5,000, hoping Peter and Mike X have exactly what they have. Peter just calls, taking his time and hoping to gather some extra clues from Mike X's next move. He's not ready to commit fully yet, but he's definitely keeping his eyes peeled. Mike X is counting his chips, calculating the value of that full house. Then, with a deep breath, he raises to $15,000, thinking it's a value bet. But Brittany isn't backing down. In an instant, she fires back with an all-in for $25,000. Peter takes a long pause. After about 3 minutes of intense thought, he finally folds his trip 8s, recognizing that his hand just isn't good enough. It's a tough fold, but it is the right one. Mike X calls and Brittany quickly flips over her cards, showing him the nasty cooler. Now, it's all up to the river.
Twice we've seen people go broke in limp pots.
Doug Polk is looking down at pocket aces, but he's up against LSG Hank, who's raised to $6,000 with ace-jack suited. From the small blind, players are often expected to 3-bet to protect their position. That dynamic makes Polk's aces even more dangerous because they don't look as strong as they are. That kind of 3-bet sizing almost looks like he's trying to scare Hank off the hand rather than invite action. But that's exactly the beauty of it. Polk wants to trick Hank into thinking it's just an attempt to steal the pot, when really Doug is just setting the trap. The suited ace and being in position here gives Hank just enough to justify seeing a flop. This is about as good a flop as Polk could hope for. In a 3-bet pot like this, Hank's range is weighted towards suited broadways and pocket pairs. That means the only real hand Polk has to worry about is pocket queens. Against everything else, his aces are still miles ahead. Polk makes a value bet of around 1/3 of the pot, just small enough to make sure Hank calls even with hands that completely miss the flop.
And he now has the nut flush draw. 111,000 in the middle. Guess how much Doug will bet. It's like a little poker test. See how close you are.
Doug Polk is feeling pretty comfortable with this card on the turn. With the way they played pre-flop, there's no way Hank has 2 pair or a set smaller than queens. I think Doug should bet small again.
81. All right.
I'm telling him he should be using big ante online.
Hank puts in the call. He needs a diamond. Instead, it's the 9 of hearts.
The river changes absolutely nothing here. Do you think Polk should check and just call if Hank bets? Or should he bet here and risk getting raised? Let me know down in the comments.
200,000. Beautiful poker.
All in.
All in.
All in, says Hank.
Spade, I fold. Heart, we do it again.
This is amazing.
Fold.
Show him.
Daniel Negreanu is looking down on King Deuce suited, but he's up against Tarhanovs with pocket jacks and tie heart with ace-9 suited. Tarhanovs is playing from the cutoff. From this seat, you can raise a wider mix of hands because fewer players are left to act. Jacks are still ahead of most calling hands in the blinds, but like all medium-high pairs, they're pretty scared of seeing an overcard on the flop. Against a late position open, suited aces are often ahead of a lot of hands. Even though he's out of position, he's still got the kind of hand that can flop big, and that's enough to justify seeing a flop.
Here, take it. Take whatever you want. I just don't fold. It's so boring to fold, so I decided no more folding.
Negreanu calls from the big blind with a pretty questionable hand, but he's getting a bit over 5-to-1 pot odds, which is pretty decent to check out the flop and see if he gets lucky. He uses his signature yapping technique to try to confuse his opponents and maybe fish out some information.
You never know what you might hit. I don't know what I have yet. We'll see. I'll tell you what I have after the flop.
The flop comes 7-king-9 all spades, and Negreanu has the best hand right now, but Tarhanovs is still in the lead.
Check to that guy. He's one to raise. What are you looking at me for? I'm not going to bet.
This is one of those spots where Tarhanovs can put serious pressure on both opponents. knowing he's got strong showdown value plus plenty of outs if he's behind.
Ooh. Scare card.
Negreanu is ahead with pair of kings, but with 2 opponents still in, a straight is now a big concern.
I'm gonna take a stab. See what that does.
Negreanu bets a little over 50% of the pot. That sizing puts real pressure on both flush and straight draws, making them pay above their pot odds to see a river. He's protecting his pair of kings while still leaving himself room to fold if the heat comes back to haunt him.
You're the guy who checked queens before in the 10-high flop, so now I'm scared.
River bricks out for Tarhanovs.
Daniel should absolutely be betting this board.
Let's test your knowledge. What do you think Tarhanovs should do in this position?
Call, because you're Negreanu.
I have a king. Oh, this is fun. I love having fun playing poker.